Hey YouTube, this is GT40 Fan 1. I got my Ruger Mark III target pistol all taken apart here. I'm going to give you a little overview of what I've done to it and show you all the parts that have been changed out, removed, stuff I've added. And then down in the description I'll provide links to everything that I've installed. So these parts have taken what was a very good shooting gun and made it an excellent shooting gun. The trigger feels like it's about it's under 2 pounds, so it's a great target pistol. So I'll go ahead and start. This one of the it's one of two items on the gun. Very Californianized, lawyerized gun, loaded chamber indicator. This causes failure to ejects and failure to feeds because the round actually rides on this little metal tab here, and that's what causes the indicator to poke out. This I think I was on Rimfire Central, and there's this guy. His name is Bruce Patza. BPATZA is his username, and he sells loaded chamber indicator slot fillers, and he has them in different finishes. He's got them blued, stainless, brushed. I think he's got sandblasted, and he's got a really nice kit. It's got instructions. He includes sandpaper so you can file this down to fit correctly. He includes a set screw. And that's how this thing installs. You just slide it in there, put a little bit of thread lock on the set screw, install the set screw, and you're done. There's nothing else. So that is really I'm really happy with that. Those loaded chamber indicators are a joke because, I mean, what do you always assume? It's a loaded firearm. So even if it's empty, it's always loaded. So that, to me, it's just stupid, trying to lawyerize a gun. Second thing I did, put in a Vole Courts accurizing kit. And that kit comes with a different extractor. This is the old one. The new one has a lot sharper of an extractor tip. It does a really good job. So I haven't had any failure to extracts with the new one in there. Then in the kit also is a new firing pin. Now I don't know if you guys can see very well, but the new firing pin it's the same length, but it's much sharper on the tip compared to the old one. The old one was a little more blunt, so I get a lot better strikes with this new one. So that has caused or stopped any of the failure to fires ever since I got that. Another one of the lawyerized parts on this gun was the magazine disconnect. If you pulled the magazine out, you could not fire the gun, which was really a pain because in order to take this gun apart, you have to make sure that the hammer has been fired, you know, to take the mainspring out. So what you have to do is you have to check the chamber to make sure it's empty. Then you have to put a magazine back in there, pull the trigger, remove the magazine, and there's several points during the time where you had to insert a magazine and then take the magazine out. Well, here's what the disconnect looks like. So what that does is the magazine will hit this tab, and that will lock onto your sear and act as a safety. Or the magazine hits this, deactivates the safety. When the magazine's out, this is under spring pressure down on the sear. So, you know, just drove me nuts. So remove that. And to remove that, I used a Clark hammer bushing. Now this thing, I think Vole Courts makes one, but I like the Clark one a little better. This is actually a press fit. I had to heat up the hammer and freeze the bushing and then press it into place. So it is in there very tight. It does not move at all. I can't get that out probably ever again unless I drive it out with a punch. So it's a oversized bushing, and then it also came with a oversized pin with it. So the tolerances are a lot closer on this. It took out some slop in the hammer, and it's got this edge on it here to take up all the space for the original hammer bushing, the spring, and the magazine disconnect. So there's no side-to-side play, there's no wobble. It really made that make that a lot better. Next thing, I got a Vole Courts target sear. It's a polished face on it. The original Ruger, you guys won't be able to see it, but I can see tooling marks, and when I run my finger across there, I can feel grit, and my finger kind of sticks on it. So, and it also came with a different sear spring. I think it's a little lighter, feels lighter, but that might just be me. Next thing, it came with I got a target trigger. Now, the target trigger has a pre-travel adjustment here and an over-travel adjustment. So that allows me to set, you hit that point where, okay, so you pull the trigger and then the gun fires, cycles, and then if you slowly let the trigger forward, you'll go until you feel a click. Well, then the trigger would just continue going, and I mean, it would go for quite a bit. The pre-travel allows me to set it where it'll hit that click and then go just a little more, and that reduces all the take-up on the gun. Over travel is when the gun fires, and then it'll continue. So this allows me to set it to where it fires and then it continues just a little bit more. So it's taken out all of the slop in the trigger. Then I got a Vole Courts extended magazine release. You can see how much larger that is. That's really nice for me since I'm left-handed. You know, that's on the right hand or left hand side of the gun. I can use my my pointer finger and I can just lift up on that while I'm pulling back on the charging handle with my other hand. So that's really nice for me. Then the trigger also came with a new trigger plunger and new trigger plunger spring, and the only real difference here is that the spring is a lot lighter on the new one. That I have a feeling that's what's reduced a lot of the trigger pull on this gun, is the different spring. I've replaced the normal Ruger grips and the grip screws. You know, they're flat black slotted screws. I've replaced those, and I got the Hogue finger grips. Hogue makes these in the ambidextrous version. They make them with a left hand. You know, you've got a left hand where there's a thumb rest. You got a right hand where there's a thumb rest. This is the ambidextrous one. I don't like having a thumb rest on my guns, but very comfortable grips. Highly recommend them. And I replaced the screws with Allen head stainless screws. So there's no chance of me stripping those out. I'd have to try really hard to do that. Last thing I've done to the gun, it took me a while, but little high-class engineering right there. Took a Busch Light can, trimmed it up, and this fits right in here like that. And what it does, if you go in here, here's where the trigger sits. This covers over the trigger, and it's called a blast shield. What it does is it prevents a lot of the gunk from the ammo getting down into the trigger, and it helps keep it from getting gritty and grimy as quickly as it normally would. So I used to have to pull this gun apart quite a bit. So now I don't have to. So that was worth the 30 minutes of cutting and fitting to get that in there. Very happy that I did that. So this gun, when I first got it, it fired good, but the trigger pull was probably 4 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds, maybe a little more. I'm just kind of guessing on that. Now, after all of this stuff, the trigger pull is, I mean, it is like butter. There's barely any take up, there's no grittiness, there's no creep in the trigger. It's just set, click. Very, very, very nice trigger. So I'll include in the description where I got everything, details on everything. So if you guys are interested in all that, I highly recommend the Bruce Patza filler and this Clark hammer bushing. So thanks for watching.